In September of 2006, I took a 3-week sabbatical from my studies at George Fox University. I joined my parents for the experience of a lifetime. I'd been to other countries before, but this trip would be different. I'd be coming back with a new family member, my adopted baby sister Jenna. This is her story. To begin, let me present a little bit of my family history. My parents are Dan and Sandy Mortensen. They have 3 boys of their own, Ryan, Eric, and Steven. They've always wanted a girl, but not been blessed with one.
Well, we actually met Delaney, and that was a big part of it. And Delaney is a little girl. She's a Chinese little girl who was adopted by a friend of ours, a single friend. And we had her over often and babysat her quite a bit, and we just really fell in love with her, and that just made us think more about adopting because we knew there were a lot of other little girls there in China that needed a mommy and daddy.
Because of the one-child law in China, many children are given up by parents who can't afford to pay the additional child fines. In rural areas of China, it is custom that parents will desire a male child in order to preserve the family name. Because of this, thousands of female babies are given up each year in China. My sister Jenna was one of these.
So we were expecting to have a little girl in our home back in early part of this year, 2006, January, February, but it's August, and we're finally getting to go August 31st.
It's been a very long wait, but we're very excited. We're very close now to getting her, and we can't wait.
After over a year and a half of paperwork and waiting, the day finally came to leave for China.
Well, we're here in Beijing, and Dan's over getting the luggage right now, and we just got off the plane from a 13-hour flight.
We had no problems on the flight over, and soon we met with our adoption group at the Beijing airport.
Our first morning in Beijing.
After a good night's rest, the families spent their first few days in China touring the sights around the city.
We're just coming into Tiananmen Square, and we're on our first tour in China.
We're entering the Forbidden City, the front entranceway.
Good morning. It is Sunday morning, and we're just about ready to depart to go to an international church service. You're not allowed to come to this church service unless you have a passport from a different country. Chinese people are not allowed to come to the church. So we're thanking God for our religious freedom right now back home. We are on the Great Wall of China, and it's pretty steep. Today is Gotcha Day. We're getting ready to head to Guangzhou.
On the morning of the 4th day, the families left Beijing and flew to Guangzhou, where the adoptions were set to take place. After arriving at the China Hotel, the families were given an hour to get their adoption materials together. Then it was off to the adoption center.
Jenna is right inside there.
What's happening?
We have to wait a few more minutes, so we're moving back over there for a few minutes.
A couple years, so a few more minutes, not come out, all right?
Okay, excuse me, before we see the babies, before you got crazy, I would like to give some document, very, very important document for you to check, okay?
The families were placed in a waiting room while their babies were brought in one by one.
Here it is. It's right around the corner. Your daughter Jenna.
Carly, what are you thinking right now?
You already got me wrapped around.
Time to go back to the hotel. We just picked up Jenna and all the babies.
The days following were filled with excitement and firsts. There's a trip to the zoo, shopping, medical examinations, consulate appointments, and lots of eating, changing, and bathing. On one of these days, I accompanied a group of new fathers on a road trip to an orphanage in Shuwen.
Morning, gentlemen. On our way to Shuwen to see, hopefully, where our babies were actually abandoned. This ought to be pretty interesting and maybe a little emotional. We're not sure yet. So we're apparently the first ones that have ever gotten to visit this orphanage, so we're pretty excited. Get some documentation of it, and we're going to bring some gifts to the orphanage so the kids have some toys to play with. And, apparently, it's a very poor orphanage, so for better or worse, here we go. We're going to spend about 16 hours on the road, so I hope you like us. All right.
We left at 6 a.m. for the 6.5-hour trek to the southern tip of the Guangdong province. Our drivers knew only one word of English: toilet. When we reached the orphanage, I wasn't allowed to film where the babies were kept. However, I was able to catch a glimpse of the first floor of the building. One of the most rewarding parts of the trip for me was being able to help the fathers film the locations where their daughters were found.
Okay, you ready?
Yep. All right, I just asked the directors exactly where Shuxiayan, where Claire was found, and this is the spot right here that they found Claire. It's right in the front of the orphanage, and so this is actually her finding spot right here.
You mind if we just stop by the police station?
After an 8-hour trip back to Guangzhou, I awoke to find that Jenna was very curious about my camera.
Uh-oh. She has a tough head.
Soon the time came to leave China. We boarded a plane to America, and Jenna officially became a U.S. citizen when we reached San Francisco. Our journey had come to its end, with family and friends waiting for us at the airport. 6 months later, Jenna is a happy, healthy, and adventurous girl. But it is difficult to forget the multitude of children in China who will not be adopted, domestically or internationally. If you or someone you know would like some more information on international adoption, there are several Christian adoption websites out there. Here are a few of them.